Hello guys, my name is Luis from All Your Wine, and today I'm very excited because I'm gonna be tasting my first Amarone della Valpolicella, a wine style that I haven't tried at all, and I cannot understand how I have been out there without trying it. First of all, a little bit about me. I am a WSET Level 2 wine enthusiast, hoping to soon get the WSET Level 3. But in the meantime, I'm trying to get to know more about wine, different regions, different styles, and that's the reason why I'm making this video so I can remember about everything that I'm studying, everything that I'm tasting, and hoping that I can also get someone who is in the same journey as me to learn something more or something interesting about wine. So let's talk about the technique that they use to make this amazing wine style, and that's called Appassimento. Appassimento is an Italian word that means withering, and that's exactly what they do to make this type of wines. In simple words, in a simple explanation, Appassimento is basically the fermentation of dried grapes that you will use to make wine instead of using fresh grapes. And what they do is they either leave them in the vineyards for a little bit longer, or they're going to put them in the ground or in shelf once they are cut. So they are going to let the juice of the grapes go. To be specific, the grapes are going to lose between 30 and 40% of juiciness. And by doing so, you are going to get more concentration of sugar, more concentration of flavor that will later turn into wines with more body and more alcohol. Now, you will think that this technique was perhaps discovered or made in the 70s, maybe the 60s, 80s, 90s, but it wasn't. This is a technique that is ancient, and in fact, it was being used by Romans to make wines. Romans were doing another style of Valpolicella that's called Ricciotto. This is a sweet wine that back then was considered to be luxurious. And by luxurious, I mean that it was expensive and it was not a wine for everyone. And what they will do is that they will stop the fermentation so they could make sure that the wine was going to have more sugar and therefore it was going to be sweeter. But rumor has it, or I should say legend has it, that someone forgot to stop the fermentation in one of the wines that they were making, and someone discovered that when they opened the barrel and they tasted the wine, finding themselves with a drier one with more alcohol, more body, and it amazed people. And they started to make this type of wine. So they will have the sweet one, but now they will also have the dry one. To give you an idea of how important is to know these little details, is that I used to think that Amarone was another great variety, but now I discovered that it's just another name for Valpolicella because there are different styles of Valpolicella that we're going to be talking about later on. Let's talk about the grapes that they use. So Valpolicella, you need to use Corvina. I would say that's the star of this wine, which is an Italian grape variety. But you also have Corbignone, you can also use Rondinella, and you can also use Molinara. Now, I have never heard of some of the grapes that they use, but I know that the main stars over here will be Corbina and Corbignone. When it comes to the region, we have to put ourselves in the map. We're going to go to the north of Italy, precisely in Veneto, and we're going to be looking for Verona. This is where you will find the region Valpolicella, therefore the name. And there are three main DOCs of sub-regions where you are going to find Valpolicella. You're going to have the Valpolicella DOC Orientale, the Valpolicella DOC Valpantena, and Valpolicella DOC Classico, which is actually the one that I have. Now, let's talk about the different styles of Valpolicella that you can find. And I think this is where people, including myself, can get confused because you might just go to a wine store and you will find these different styles and you might just get confused. As a matter of fact, I guess that when you start working in the industry and you start making wine tasting, when you are into great varieties and different styles, is where you get to know about wine more easily. But when you are maybe starting this wine journey, you might really get confused. And I was there, and it's incredible the amount of time that you need to invest to get this right. So I'm going to give you the five different styles that you can find of Valpolicella. And the first one is going to be genetic Valpolicella. This is actually a light wine, quite fruity, and is the one that you will get for light dishes, like nothing special happening there. Then you will have Valpolicella Superiore, which is the one that is going to have the highest alcohol level. Then you're going to have Valpolicella Ripasso, and that's a wine that's been fermented twice. You're going to have then the Valpolicella Ricciotto, which is the sweet version that I was just telling you before that was very famous in Roman history. And finally, and this is the one that I have, Amarone della Valpolicella, which is supposed to be, and we are going to find that out in a minute, a dry wine, full body wine. And well, I think I should not say more about this. I guess we are finally in our favorite part, and that's the tasting. So, as you can see, I'm ready for the tasting, and I'm so excited about this because I just saw in the label that this is 16% alcohol. And I remember the last wine that I tasted with this high level of alcohol was an Australian wine that is no longer in sale in my country. And this one, and I have to say the reason why I have never tried Valpolicella before is that it's a wine that it's so hard to get. To be specific, I had to travel to get this one. I was not able to find it, and there is actually one in my country, but it's really expensive, and it was more inexpensive to get one abroad than actually going into the wine store and get the one that they sell. So enough talking. Let's begin with the color. So in the eye, I have to say that it looks very transparent. Like I can see my fingers through the liquid. I always like to do that and see if I'm able to see my fingers through the wine. And it's not really deep in color. It's like a little bit brownish. Like it's been years in the bottle. Let's see. This is 2017. So it has been in the bottle for almost, I will say, 8 years, nine. But well, let's take a look in the nose. Wow, the nose is completely amazing. I just had like a little sniff. Now, I can perceive some I know like you cannot say that alcohol is something that you can smell, but sometimes the intensity in the aroma is so strong that you can actually perceive there's like a lot of alcohol going on. I perceive some honey for some reason. I like a little honey, but I get more raisin aromas, like this wooden perception as well, but more like raisin indeed. But there's like something in there, like I will say honey, but I'm not 100% sure. Some dark fruit as well, but raisin and honey is what I can perceive the most in this wine. I wonder if it's going to be like Nebbiolo. Like the color is not that deep, but then in your mouth, it turns into a full body wine. Let's taste it. I have to say that I'm quite nervous, but let's see. Hmm. Okay, wow. This is a very astringent wine. In fact, I can say that is similar to Nebbiolo. So when you see that the wine is not deep in color, you might think that it's going to be a soft one, but oh boy, it's not. It's really astringent. It doesn't kick right away, but when you put the wine in your palate, it gets dry. Like now it feels like I need some water because it's really astringent, despite being in the bottle for like 8 years, as I said before. it has this burning sensation, but I know that's the level of alcohol that the wine has. So now it makes me think if it would be ideal to let this wine breathe for a little bit longer. We might try to do that to see if it gets softer, but it is indeed strong. The raisin flavor is also present and is very predominant. It has low acidity. I would say low to almost no acidity on this one. And wow, I'm surprised. I'm surprised of the astringency that this wine can give you. I will say it's not for everyone palate. It's really strong, and I think you can see in my in my face how powerful this one is. I was reading the theory, and I quite expected that this was going to happen, but I'm really surprised of what I'm tasting. I think it goes beyond of the perception that I had. So I'm gonna give it 95 points. I believe it's a marvelous wine, but as I said before, it's not really balanced because of the alcohol level and the astringency that you can perceive in your mouth. But if you really like something strong and powerful, I will say then that this is your wine. So there you go. Thank you for watching me tasting this one. If you really like my reactions, the theory that I give, please don't forget to subscribe. Trust me that when I see likes, comments, or people telling me, "Hey, I saw your video," like it makes me just want to continue discovering more varieties. And I really appreciate your support. I don't take it for granted. Thanks so much for watching. And once again, don't forget to subscribe to All Your Wine.